we go. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode of Vagabond Dog Industry Chats. This week, we've got Amanda James, who is the lead organizer for Nordic Game Jam, good friend of Vagabond Dogs, and good friend of ours. How are you doing? Welcome to the show.
I am doing good.
Okay. So,
Yay.
I guess to start it off, what is Nordic Game Jam, and like why should people be interested in it, and blah 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 blah. Give them the quick
And
overview.
the quick overview. Well, no, the game jam is
No,
a
no, they
game
know
jam.
they know what a game jam is. I'm
Okay,
sure
good.
most of the audience knows what a game. If you don't know what a game jam is, man, you've hit the wrong channel.
I mean, sometimes we have to explain that too, and that's just yeah. So it's a game jam, and it's been running since 2006.
Long
So
time.
it's actually running for the 15th year. I can't math, but
Yeah.
right, 15. Yeah. Usually it's a physical jam, uh, where you actually meet up. And at one point, it was the biggest single side jam. But due to circumstances,
Mm-hmm.
we're online this year. So
But traditionally, I mean, we've only our community's done a lot of game jams. We've only done online jams. Walk us through what is it like to have a physical space jam and a single site jam. What are these play? What is it like?
I mean, usually we will have it will be set up so that there's like two parts of it. There's two like festival/conference days, and then there's the 48-hour jam. So people will meet up the two first days, and they will hear talks from industry people, and they will go around mingle, and they will party, and we'll see a lot of fun stuff. And then there would be like a huge theme reveal with everybody gathered, and then there would be group mingling or like group forming, and people will then sit all together in like the same location, or in same location, but sometimes with different rooms, blah blah blah. But and jam all weekend. They
Right.
will go home and sleep. Most of them will go home and sleep.
I've seen
Uh,
some people don't.
yeah, I mean we generally encourage sleep, but and sleep not at the jam site because I mean you need sleep, yo.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I mean we're also not gonna keep people out if they do sleep at the site, and it's usually just like this kind of weird hype feeling of everybody being in it together
Mm-hmm.
and like walking around, being able to follow other people's progress and just having a really cozy and fun time. Like a lot of random stuff always happens. Mostly
So,
because people don't sleep, but also just, you gather enough game developers in one place and then, you know, during over time, shit will just go weird.
right. Um, how tell us a little bit more about like the 2 days prior to the is it 2 days prior to the 48 hours where there's talks and the theme reveal and mingling and partying.
Yes.
uh how does that portion feed into the creativity of the jam, and how do you think it like sets up the 48-hour grind, so to speak, of the jam itself?
Well, I mean, since Nordic Game Jam has been around for so long, it has had a lot of very different variations. And the two conference days or like festival days is relatively new. We've only done that for the last 4 years, 5 years. Relatively new.
Right.
Oh my god. But the whole idea was that um, people could, go to a talk and then get inspired to do something new. We really
Mhm.
want people to like go to the jam and you know broaden their horizon. So usually the last 2 years, the conference days had been divided into like a business kind of focus and a dev kind of focus. So the first day would be more like how to do startup stuff or how to get money or like, and we would invite people in to talk about how they did it for their company. And then there would be a party at the night where people can get to mingle and talk to each other. And then the dev day would be more focused on design or programming or like
Mhm.
people showing. Like inviting industry people who've done some really cool shit to talk about the cool shit they've done.
Right. And so the party of the mingling part is, I think, an interesting portion of it, especially because I mean, it is. First off, actually, for context, we've had maybe like 15 people at the most at one of our other jams we've done online since we started doing them. How big is Nordic Game Jam?
Well, we have gotten, again, very different sizes.
Mhm.
But the last time we held a physical jam, we were around 450 people.
Yeah, that's a lot.
And that's kind of like a smaller version. In 2016, I think it was, we were 1,000 participants
Yeah,
in one location.
that's a lot.
That is a lot. Then we got a little bit smaller, a little bit bigger, and now we're online.
And
Hopefully, we'll go back to physical again. But you know,
uh, how much of an international presence is it? Where's everybody coming from?
everywhere. They're coming from everywhere. Like uh, last time we counted, um, there was like 40% international people and 40 or like 38 nationalities represented.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot more than the name suggests.
In the Nordic part, yeah, well, it's just Nordic because no, Copenhagen is Nordic,
Mhm.
and most of them are from like Scandinavia or something like that. And again, most of them are from Europe, but we also have had people from South Africa and Israel join in. So,
All over. Um, cool.
and that's
So
actually a cool thing about being online is that last year, even though we did a very like impromptu panic jam online
Mhm.
because it was
Right,
like everything locked down right before we were supposed to
right,
actually do
right.
the event. We had a lot of people from like all over the world. Suddenly had people from like India and the like way far away. So that's pretty cool about like accessibility for other people to join the jam is easier when it's online.
Right. Um, now I know obviously like last year's event being a very hastily made digital event is not a particularly good example because you didn't have a whole ton of time to prepare and everything. But what were some of the like apart from being able to have more people from all around joining? Were there any other subtle wins that you noticed or you guys hadn't really realized were available to doing an online portion of the event?
I think um, like one of the things we were kind of sad about, like really sad about missing out on when going online was the presentation part. We had just introduced playtesting to as part of the jam before you kind of vote for who's gonna win some prizes or something. And the way we did it online last year was like having people present their own game on Discord,
Hmm.
and we were really pleasantly surprised that we could have like this feeling, like even though it was very much just impromptu, but like after everybody had presented what they wanted presented, and this like we shut down the stream, we had like that feeling that everybody went home, and we were like, I didn't know that we could have that feeling online. I was like, okay, and now everybody went home, and it felt very much as if people were there, even though it
Right,
was online.
right, right, right.
And I thought that was very nice.
And I mean, I'm sure there's a ton of like technical challenges that come with the very quick transition to online, but like what were some of the biggest hurdles?
Um, well, I mean, the fact that we did not have a program, right? We went down to completely only a jam, which in its core, that's what Nordic Game Jam is.
Hmm.
Um, but also just stuff like figuring out how to like submissions is always like a thing that people have trouble with, but figuring out how to communicate that out, because usually you would just walk around the jam site and then yell at people until they have submitted. And that's a really efficient way to get people to understand.
Right.
But online, having to ping people constantly, you can turn off your notifications, and then that was some issues. Figuring out how to vote on Twitch, itch was also like actually like easier than we thought, but limits on how many people you can be in one Discord call was also, hey, fun. Did not know. When there's video, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And having to very impromptu be like, oh, we also have a Twitch channel and stuff like that. So there
Right.
was a lot of very hastily stuff being made, but
Right.
it was fun.
I mean, but you've had almost a year now to figure out what the next iteration is going to be. How? I mean, how has that process been since? Not, I mean, were you guys immediately committed to doing an online
No,
for 24? No, it was
no.
like everybody assumed we would be back to normal by now, and
Yeah, everybody assumed we would be back to normal. And it took way longer than it probably should have for us to be like, no, no, we actually need to commit to doing an online jam and then doing it good.
mm-hmm.
Um, and then also just organizing stuff. Like organizing stuff when you're only online is way harder or way more difficult because you're used to be able to like be in this organizer team and then meet up physically and feed off each other's energy and like getting hyped about the thing you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just really hard to do through Zoom. You just don't get the
Right.
same like hype feeling. Also, we had a lot of people change out in our organizer team. For example, I became lead organizer. Yay. um, which also then like all the restructuring and then all the onlineness was has been a challenge. But
Right.
now we have a jam almost ready,
So a lot has
so it's
fallen
gonna be
into your
great.
lap like really quickly. How have you been adjusting to that?
I would love to say that I'm adjusting very well to it, but eh, I don't know. In the end, like we're very aware about the fact that like with this like with the circumstances we have right now, it will be what it will be, and
Mhm.
and it will be fun. I
Are you
mean, we have
are you having fun?
we're going to have some really nice T-shirts that I'm looking forward to. We're going to have some really cool stuff in the program that I'm looking forward to. And I'm really looking forward to spending a whole weekend with the organizer team at the site. Because we are going to have like a site that we stream from.
Right, right, right.
So
The streaming is a I guess much bigger component now. Um,
yeah. That we last year we didn't really we streamed from home.
mhm.
And that was kind of a thing that we decided when we figured out we wanted to go online that we didn't want to stream from home. Um because we want to try to up that feeling of like actually being there
Mhm.
or like the event actually happening. And then we thought, well, having a streaming location where people are gathered is like with proper measures, and also we are all going to have
Mhm.
to take a lot of tests and
Mhm.
hand sanitize everything, and it's gonna be great.
But it's I mean it sounds like it is shaping up to be a pretty solid jam. What do you think people can look forward to if they if oh well I guess if people are not familiar with the jam, you know, is it too late to sign up? Is it too late to
No,
join?
no, no. We're still selling tickets, and actually, if you sign up, we're still trying to figure out how far we can push our T-shirt deadline.
Mm-hmm.
But if you sign up, I know that if you sign up before Sunday, you're definitely guaranteed to get a T-shirt also. Um, or you have an opportunity to buy a ticket with T-shirt, and we will send it to you. That is also a thing we have highly prioritized. Is oh, I'm just gonna restructure my legs. Um, but we have prioritized T-shirts
Mm-hmm.
because we're sad that last year none of us got to get a T-shirt,
Right.
and I don't know. Like it's been a fucking whole year where there hasn't. I mean, I have gone to online events, but I haven't gotten any T-shirts. And then have I even been there? I mean, when there didn't get a T-shirt, that, does it didn't even exist?
Right. The
And
T-shirt is
now we have
essential.
T-shirts.
Right. It's essential. It's essential for proof of it happening.
Yes.
Um. So Nordic Game Jam is a ticketed game jam. What
Yes.
um I mean, we when we host a game jam, it's just a fun little community thing. There's no tickets, there's no structure. It's a mess. But what does having a formalized uh enterprise, is that right? But like a formalized structure and business around game jamming, what does that do positively for the jammers and for the program?
Again, I think it creates a different kind of creative space, because I also go to small impromptu game jams that I host with my friends, or like just very, like also have also organized way smaller game jams, right? But there's something about Nordic, the fact that it is, and I think that has been going on for so long, and the fact that it is like a structured or like planned jam the way it is. I've also noticed it with like similar-ish jams, that it gives you another like drive to know we need to get stuff done also. Even though the goal shouldn't be like, hey, we need to get stuff done, but it gives a different, creative mood.
Now, some game jams, we don't do this with ours, but a lot of game jams have prizing. How do you feel that contributes to the environment and the scope of creativity and the output on the jams?
I think it depends on your personality. We've actually had that discussion. Like it's come up a lot the recent years for Nordic Game Jam, because we used to have. Oh, there's a cat in the background.
Oh, yeah.
No.
Hello.
But we used to have like a winner of Nordic Game Jam, and some other prizes, and like even more years ago, we also used to have prizes that were actually like you could win 10,000 Danish kroner, or you could win like some pretty exclusive shit, right? Then it became like, hey, you can win a ticket to next year's jam. And over the last couple of years, we've started to focus less on the prizes, or then having more different kind of categories. So it's just not, hey, congratulations, best game, because best game is such a, well, what's the best game?
The one I make.
Yeah, always the one I make.
Yeah.
So we would like to for people to stop focusing, or not stop focusing, but not focus so hard on the winning aspect of it, but more like the journey to get there.
Right.
So this year we have a lot of prizes that is interactivity based. So it's like, I think I'm allowed to share this, maybe not. But we have a prize for like best sharing of progress, and best support animal.
Best support animal.
If you have a really cute pet, you are in a pretty good position to win that prize. Yeah.
How do you feel that, like, so what is there a difference in the type of games that have come out of the jam in the years when you had big money cash prizes and less focus on that?
Yes, I mean, I feel like there's a difference. There was a lot of I mean, the difference was not only that we had big money cash prizes, but also the way we presented the games. It was like very short presentations. So the games that usually won, especially with the 1,000 people, like if you have 1,000 people and you have to go through 1,000 presentations, not everybody can see everybody's games, right? So it was like very short, GIF-oriented games. The games that won was the one where people were good at presenting, and also that looked good on a 30-second GIF.
Right. No visual novels. Visual novels do not apply.
Yeah, no depth, right?
Yeah.
It's like text. Okay, yeah, you're never gonna win.
Right.
The games were still being made, but they were just not being seen that much. And then, like 2 years ago, we started moving over to, or we like introduced the concept of having people play each other's games before they vote.
Mm-hmm.
And I was absolutely amazed that a Twang game won for best game. Obviously, that was pretty, remarkable for Nordic Game Jam. We
How do
had
you,
a Twang game that won.
how do you manage accurate voting then, or quote unquote, when it's expected for if there's 400 people, there's maybe 200 games, 150 games, right? That's a lot of stuff for people to play through before they cast their vote.
Yeah,
How so what sort of like sorting system or like process goes into, like, how does that work?
we gave people a long time to play test. I think we set out 4 hours, 5 hours to
Mm-hmm.
play test, and then like we divided all the participants for where they were sitting and said, "Hey, now you have to set up so you can like have people play test your game." And then we like said, "Okay, everybody from room A go to room B and play test for 1.5 hour, and then everybody from room B go to room A and play test for 1.5 hour." So they took turns, and then I mean, there's no way to ensure that everybody got to play everybody's
Right.
games,
I mean, that's
but
almost impossible.
everybody had the opportunity to at least see all the games if they
Right.
wanted to. If they just wanted to play one game and say that's the game I voted for, I mean, we're not gonna stop them.
Right, right. It's a bit like the Oscars.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
So it's more like giving people the opportunity to see what is actually being made, right?
And it's
Because
it's only jammers voting, or do you have an adjudication panel?
um, usually it will be only jammers voting. Now that it's on uh, itch,
Mhm.
everybody can vote. I think.
Even so just players?
I think so. Oh no, this is one of the things. Don't
No quote. Okay.
say my point. Yeah, don't quote me on this one.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I think people can vote, but
Okay.
also usually it would be like yes, jammers could vote, but also we would sometimes or quite often have people in from the outside on the last day that has just bought a ticket but only wanted to come and see the games.
Right, right, right.
That's usually like industry people and stuff like that, and they also got to vote, but their vote count just as much as everybody else's.
Right. I mean, it's not a bad way to kill an afternoon. I mean, if you've got nothing if you want to go and see some games and see some
Yeah,
weirdos and
playtest some stuff.
yeah.
That's pretty like we also, especially people who used to come a lot to the game jam, but then got kids and responsibilities and stuff. Then they will come with the kids on the last day and be like,
Interesting. Now, one of the things that I always like every time I've gone into a game jam, and it's actually remained prevalent in the ones we've done in our community, is this notion that this game jam I'm working on, this jam game I make, God damn it, this might be the next big thing I end up working my right. It might be my 5-year project might come out of this. Are there any really big notable successes or like major projects that you're aware of that have come out of Nordic?
"Baba is you."
Baba is you. Very good.
Yeah, that one Nordic Game Jam in 2017 or
Mm-hmm,
18.
mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Do you?
that's a pretty. Also one that's called Oxyjet. I think there's also like a handful of companies that started at Nordic Game Jam. There's actually quite a few that
Interesting.
where it's not necessarily the game they made at the jam, but the
Right.
people that they made it with.
Right. 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 Um, it's interesting. I've and maybe you can comment on this, but I have always felt like it is a bit of it is the game developers gamble going into game jams, right? Like it is our weird form of gambling. It's like I'm going to spend this time here on a high risk uh bout of work. I'm either going to throw it in the garbage at the end or it's going to be something miraculous, and I have no idea whether it's going to come up heads or tails until, I mean, the earliest possible is I get the theme, right? Like,
Mm.
do you think that people enter game jams with any level of risk assessment, or do they even does anybody care? Am I the only
Um,
person who thinks of this?
I think it really. I think it depends. One of the things that we've introduced to group forming is that you have to state, like how high intensity of a jam you or like you want also your teammates or your group to do, because there are definitely people who goes into the jam and be like, we are not sleeping, drinking, or taking a piss before this game is
Right.
done. And like we have 48 hours, and if I see you close your eyes for a second of that, that is not okay. And who likes to jam that way, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I personally don't. I figured out quite quickly that I need sleep.
Mm-hmm.
Or not that I need sleep, but I need, time to party and mingle. Um,
More important.
yeah, but also make the game. So I think that is like where the, like it depends. It very much depends on your group,
Right.
because like I think only my first jam I was like, hey, we're going to go in here and we're gonna win this
Mm-hmm.
or
Mm-hmm.
do something amazing, and then I very quickly switched from that until over to I think I'm gonna make something new. And then for most jams that I've then gone to since, which is quite a lot of them, I've just gone in and be like, I haven't done this before. So I've done 3D and sound and programming, made a thing in BAT because I wanted to, used the camera, made
Right.
a game that was only in folders because I was just like, well, I haven't done this yet. So use a weekend to learn something new.
Right. I mean, that is, I think, something people develop with experience and age in jamming. Is I think I fell into a very similar pattern where, like, my early jams, it would be like hardcore nonstop, coffee all night, we don't quit. And then as you come to know yourself and you know your development patterns and you know that you know you can only push yourself so far. uh
You don't want to die.
it like, at some point, it just becomes madness. You're just chucking madness into the computer, and it's not necessarily like producing anything of value. um but is there, okay, I mean, you mentioned that the jam uh suggests going home to sleep. Are there any
Yeah.
other, like, health checks and balances? Like, what's essential for making sure that these lunatics don't run themselves off the rails?
Well, I mean, again, at a physical jam, we will have food, like real
Mm-hmm.
food, 3 meals a day. Like that's part of the ticket. Then the ticket is also a lot more, cost a lot more than it
Mm-hmm.
does for the online. We don't have to feed people online. But for the online jam, we do have morning yoga and check-ins and reminders to stand up and do something different.
Right.
We actually have this is quite a big portion of our stream program that is not very game related, but just related to, hey, let's do something, or like also, you know, let's do something else
Mm-hmm.
in order to get people to, chillax.
Mm-hmm. um what what do you think? So you've come from, you've done a lot of jams personally. I mean, obviously what were your favorite jam experiences like?
Well, so I went to a jam where we stayed at this boarding school kind of thing for like 4 days, and it was like out like the area around it was like really pretty with like hills, and we did bonfires in the night, and it felt very like going to camp, and that was absolutely amazing. I mean, the games that came out of it was pretty cool. But again, for me, it just after that I was like, hey, so I can just go to a game jam and have a lot of fun also, and that's also okay.
What did you make in that jam?
I made a VR horror game called We, I think. It was like you were in VR and you were standing on a plane of there was nothing around you except this one humanoid. And then when you started moving, it started twitching and divided into two. And then walls came up from the ground, and you had to figure out how to get out of the labyrinth before there was so many of the creatures that you actually couldn't get out of the labyrinth.
It's terrifying.
Yep. And then they looked at you. They wouldn't attack you. They would just like slowly fill up the labyrinth and look at you when you walk by.
I see.
Yeah.
What was the least successful game jam you ever participated in?
Like least successful in the
like
case of with my product? Or
yes, the game you made that you're least happy with. I mean, they're all amazing. Let's be real.
Obviously. I actually think I participated in the Pirate Jam.
Mm-hmm.
And the game I made there was a kind of bad questionnaire. Yeah, a questionnaire in bad, and then you got a picture afterwards and like a reading of your personality taken from. It was really bad, but I was spending. I mean, we were in Thailand for 10 days, so it was really hard to focus on making a game.
Right.
Yeah. And there was a lot of really inspiring things that I could have made a game of, but like my mojo was definitely off making games. And
so I mean, it's interesting because you say your best experience came your best jam experience came from a very good environment that you were very interested in and had a lot of fun in, and then also your least productive game jam came from a great environment that you were having a lot of fun in. What's the difference and what's the balance?
I think the problem was not only that I was very distracted by the fact that I was in Thailand, but also generally in that period I was just kind of off in my creative mojo, and I worked alone. I wasn't in a group.
Right. Yeah, because I mean,
and I've noticed that if I don't work in a group, I definitely become way less productive.
The group element, the collaboration is a big part of what I think jam culture is about, and it's like, I mean, we can all easily work alone without a jam, but like the jam is the opportunity to work with other people and experiment with other people's skills. It's a lot of fun. Do you does Nordic do anything in terms of like creating partners with people or like facilitating connection in that way, other than everybody just being at the event? And I guess the mingling party stuff is
we do have like structured group forming. If you don't come with a group,
right,
we set up opportunity for you to find one, and the goal is like everyone who wants a group should find a group.
Right. How does that?
So we do the group matchmaking.
How do you guys manage that? Because I've tried to do that myself, and I find it's hard when you've got X number of people with certain skill. We've got 15 audio people and 3 programmers and 40 people who want to write dialogue. Right? Like, what do you do? How do you
like,
make
what kind of game do you even get out of that? Yeah. Well, we do. We usually have like a thing where you like just talk about the theme with like all kinds of random people. Just get, and then also just to get the ideas flowing. So we're like, hey, talk to this person about the theme and then tell them the worst game you can make from this theme, or like the first game that you just thought of from this theme. So get some of the ideas out of their head. And then if someone has like idea that they feel really strongly about that they want to do, they then can be like, hey, I want to do this. I need a programmer. Blah blah blah. On Discord we have done like kind of the artist looking for group, looking for blah blah blah, or like, hey, designer looking for group. Da, 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 da. But I have noticed that it's definitely easier for people to find groups if they um, come in with the are open-minded about about what they want out of the jam, and also about what is possible. Because I have seen also know people who's like, well, I'm an audio person, so I can't, go into a group with only other audio people. And it's like, well, then you will just have to figure out a way to make a game that is only audio
Right.
and no programming. And they're like, but can we do that? And it's like, of course you can do that. And
Right.
having to put the people those kind of ideas into people's heads, being like, you you don't need a programmer. You can make the game.
Right. Right. It's like it's
Or you don't need the artist in order for you can be 3 programmers. You can be thinking out of the box for what can be a group.
right. It doesn't have to be so super rigid that it's it's the perfect balance of programming, art, and sound. A game can be the concept of game, especially in a place like Nordic Game Jam, is rather amorphous. Like you said, you made a game out of folders.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, it wasn't. I mean, it is definitely stretching the definition of game a little bit. It was more like an interactive experience where you moved around folders on your computer, and then the computer at one point took a picture of you and showed you a video of a cat.
perfect. I mean, it's a
Yeah.
game, right? Like I Okay, there we go. We are back. Sorry, there was a weird technical issue, and now it is resolved. Hooray! I don't remember where we left off the conversation before it broke. But we were talking about game jams for sure.
Definitely game jams.
Definitely game jams. I think we were
Sorry.
talking. Oh wait, we were talking about. Oh, we got Kitty Cat now. We were talking about a bit about the amorphous nature of game jam projects and how they are allowed to not conform to so much
Gameness.
Yeah, it's the traditional definition of gameness, and how there isn't
they're allowed-
really room for a lot of that in the commercial space or like as a job or whatever.
Yeah, how they're allowed to be unsellable.
Unsellable. That's a good. Yeah, I mean, do you think? I mean, like, I can think of a lot of personal reasons why that is kind of essential to having good creativity and these kinds of things, and having the opportunity to not be so constrained. Is there a industry necessity for that sort of thing though? Do you think much comes out of it?
I do think that it does, because when you create something that is clearly not sellable, you can still find really cool mechanics to play with.
Right.
And you can still take something out of it that is then can be converted into things that can actually be, sold. For example, my bad game, absolutely unsellable because it can only work on my specific computer. But there was some really fun ideas in it that I've taken to other games.
Right.
About interactivity and structure.
That's actually one of the things, like my my weird VR project, or my the with the stuff that falls out of the sky, like that for the longest time has been an unsellable project because it could only work on my computer because deploying the build would destroy it and all kinds of other little weird technical issues that slowly been
Minor detail.
they've been getting resolved, like it's all in the way it's changed and everything like that. But I definitely appreciate Jam Spaces for affording me the opportunity to build that out and like let it grow to a point where now it is sort of a saleable project. It's kind of surprising me in the way it's evolved, but that's the thing.
I think it's so cool that you've taken it to Twitch
Yeah,
because
it's fun.
it works way better than I even thought it would. Because I've seen it in VR or like when you are in like room scale virtual reality, and then it's like all more like an artsy thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
But on Twitch, it's kind of like playing Sims, but like all the participants or like all the chat as people in chat are just making you put stuff in your world,
Right. Yeah, it's
which is
a little more communal.
yeah.
A little less hostile, a little more communal. And there is a reason we are bringing it up because I've answered an email now, so I guess it's is it official? We can talk a little bit about the programming that's coming for Nordic Game Jam.
For example, you.
Yes, so I will be doing a stream featuring the I've been calling it Absent Reality while is a working title. So we'll be streaming. Our community's invited, and we'll be having some Nordic Game Jam community all together on Twitch, dumping garbage into the chat and seeing what we can make with it.
I think it's. I mean, you've been at Nordic Game Jam with another version of it physically, and I just thought it was very cool that in the end there was like all these things that was kind of a culmination of the jam.
Yeah,
because you got like 3D models and
right.
videos and pictures and
that's
shit.
that's one of the really fun things about the running the event or running the game within the game jam. It's a game. Running the game within the game jam is that, while when I run it on Twitch, I usually just get an assortment of random things from the internet. When it's in the game jam environment, I got a lot of like, here's a piece from my game, here's the main character of my game, here's a 3D model we used, here's this, there's that. And it like smashed together into like a really interesting medley of like that represented the jam as a whole or whatever. Quite enjoyable. But enough about me.
I mean, you're gonna to be there for for 3 days of the program, not like for the full study, but I mean you're on.
Yeah. The endurance element.
Quite a lot. We do need to figure out like what you said. Was it absent reality?
Yeah. We call it because on my channel we call it Scam Machine.
Yeah, maybe not put that in our program.
Yeah, I had to change. I had to come up with a name when I started applying for grants and stuff. Please give me money for
the Scam Machine. Yeah, because I've just been calling it make stuff with Justin.
Yeah. It's good.
When we wrote it down, and all the rest of the organizers is like, so
what
this make stuff with Justin segment that you put in an hour for like 3 of the days. What is it? I was like, yeah, he's gonna answer my email really soon. So,
yeah, it's great. It's just Helmut's great. Don't worry about it. But so there's that. You've got different programming blocks through the days. What else can we look forward to?
Well, the program, like the most like programmy thing, will be on Friday, where we have invited game companies, Danish game companies, into this, onto the stream, and then participants have the option to before the jam to submit their portfolios or CVs, and then the companies will do portfolio review and CV review and
They
Q&A.
get roasted.
Yeah.
No.
But and also people who participate in the stream can ask questions.
And do you think this is a good opportunity for getting like exposure to the industry? That I guess larger companies. These are larger companies that are doing the.
It is very different size companies. I mean, we have. I mean, they haven't answered our they have answered our emails and confirmed that they wanted to go, but we have like some pretty big companies.
Mhm.
Like IO is coming.
Okay.
And Ghost Ship is coming.
Okay.
And then we have some smaller companies. So it's like kind of a bigger range of like tiny to pretty big. But I mean pretty big by Danish standards, right? Because like even IO is not that big compared
Pretty
to
big.
Blizzard.
Well, I mean, nothing's.
Yeah, right.
Sure, fine.
Yeah. So a different kind of range. And the idea is that the portfolio review will be like a double win, or like a win-win situation for like participants. They get the opportunity to show what they're doing to company people who's actually like some of them are hiring right now, and they get some really some professional feedback on what that company is looking for, and they also get insights from other people's portfolios, like see a lot of cool stuff. And from the company point of view, it would be at that they get to advertise the company, they get to teach people how to send them proper CVs, and hopefully get some better CVs out of it. And they can scout without commitment.
Right.
So I really hope that this will be like a cool thing. It's the first time we are doing it. But I hope that it's something we will continue to like develop on next couple of years. Because I don't know. I think it's cool.
So if I am a developer interested in participating, where do I go and what do I do?
You go to NordicGameJam.com.
Okay.
And then you click the buy ticket, and then you buy a ticket. And then you will get information. Like most of the jam will go over our Discord and our Twitch.
If I am a non-developer and I am interested in seeing some of the programming and or playing the games that come out of the jam, what do I do?
I mean, if you want to see the programming, we would appreciate if you bought a ticket, and also you'll get the T-shirt. But you should also go to NordicGameJam.com and buy the ticket.
Right.
If you want to play some of the games, we will have a whole week. They will all be uploaded to itch, so you can play them on itch. Playing the games are free for everybody.
Good.
With or without ticket.
I like to play games.
Yeah.
Is there anything? Oh, I mean, have you got any pro advice in terms of like organizing events? Like I've run 5 game jams for my community now. They've been all kind of okay, but have you got any like good pro tips for if we want to start attracting more people, or like,
ask students.
Like,
get your grabby hands on students. Wait, no, grabby, but yeah, get students involved.
Yeah,
they have a lot of time, and they want to make games. So that's a lot of reach. They know a lot of people, not unlike non-students that slowly just isolate more and more and then lose touch with the world.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know. Remember to sleep.
Right.
Also up before the jam. And create a comfy environment. Lots of hygge.
Of what?
Yeah. Hygge.
What is hygge?
It's like that's the Danish word for like cozy / nice / pleasant feeling.
Hygge.
Hygge. Yeah, it's like coziness / niceness / it's kind of like the feeling of sitting with a blanket, and then and there's like candles, and maybe it's like snowing outside, and you're just like sitting playing a nice game, and you're like have a cat on your lap. That's pretty hygge.
Hugin. Okay. I guess one more big question, because I ask all my international guests this, but what is the Danish game dev scene like? How is it different from the rest of the world?
I mean, I have a hard time answering how it's different from the rest of the world, because I've mostly just been in the Scandinavian scene, or like in the Danish scene. But when I talk to other people about it, it seems like we're doing a lot of weird shit. Yeah, people are generally like that. The Danish scene is doing a lot of stuff and doing a lot of weird things.
Weird in which way? What kind of weird?
I think we have not that many big studios, but we have a lot of small studios that have done cool stuff. Like the Stickball guys.
Mm-hmm.
It's a pretty weird game in some capacity. Or like the Golf guys also, or like Tripand Company. They're not actually guys anymore. I mean, some of them are guys, but some of them, yeah, whatever. Diversity. Or like Limbo and the whole Playdead thing. There's just a lot of differentness.
Right. Successful small groups.
And I don't know if that is necessarily particular for the Danish game industry or not.
Mm-hmm.
Because I haven't really been in that many, other than I haven't been that much outside of Europe. Like, honestly, no. We do drink, usually, we drink a lot of beers.
That's good.
Yeah. And that's like a really weird thing about all this Rona thing. Is, you get news about other game companies and you're like, oh, so when did this happen? Like 2 months ago. And you're like, we would usually know immediately, but you don't see each other. So it's like, and it's going really well. Like, it's going really well for a lot of companies in Denmark during 2020 has been a really good year for the Danish game industry, and it's like kind of awkward because everybody's kind of like, yeah. So it's going really well, but we can't celebrate it with any. We just,
Right.
Yeah. Because usually there would be a lot of release parties, right? Or like
right.
Friday get-togethers or game nights, and there's also usually like every other month there would be like a night with talks about like where people do game dev talks at like a game bar. Yeah. So this small but engaged.
Right. Close. Would you say it's a close knit community? I mean, it's not. I mean, it's a small population country relative to others, but
most other countries, yeah. What you mean, 5 million people? Yay!
Yeah, I mean, I think my city has 4 million.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we can't all be Toronto.
No. But I mean, so I mean, does that? Do you think that creates a tighter knit group, or is it? I mean, does the internet just destroy all of that? Where it's like, who even cares anymore?
About
like local group or like when you go to the events, when they happened, are you just seeing the same people over and over again all the time, or
yeah. Yeah. Yep. You just see the same people over and over again. I mean, it's definitely also the Venn diagram of people in the Danish game industry, and then people who actually would likes to go out and meet other people, and then
right.
Then the group in the middle is just the people you see all the time.
Wow.
Which is great.
Yeah.
Then I remember I went to an event and and invited my sister along. She's not games at all, and she, like at the end of the night, she was just like, "So this is what you're doing when you're like doing business, like, or have an industry event, or like
Right.
you're just hanging out with your friends, Amanda. You're just hanging out with your friends. It's like, yeah,
A little bit.
a little bit, but it's also it's networking and mingling and very
Right.
important.
Yeah, it is. It is an element that is pervasive in the games industry. I wouldn't say it's just Denmark. It's no matter where I go, it seems to be. There's always some mingling events are kind of essential to making connections and keeping ties and all that stuff.
I think it's like again another positive about what I love about game jams and working in groups and game jams is like the hey, there's so many people I've met through game jams that I'm still really good friends with, still keep in contact with, and who are cool connections to have.
Yeah, I agree.
It's
Well,
fun stuff.
I guess on that note, is there anything else you want to tell the people before we head out?
You should join Nordic Game Jam.
Join Nordic Game Jam.
Join Nordic Game Jam. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
It'll be a lot of fun. Yeah.
It's most of the program will be in Danish time, which is what GT something. But I mean, you're welcome to join anyways, even if it's in the middle of the night. We will probably have some people to talk.
I think some of my community will appreciate that. Some of them for being in time zone, and some of them for just having horrible sleep patterns.
All of it is welcome. I mean, we're not dictating when you should sleep. You should just generally sleep. So,
right, do sleep.
Sleep is good.
Well, thank you for coming on. Thank you for teaching us all about organizing a giant ass game jam.
Ass jam, yeah.
Big ass jam. And looking forward to the events, and I will tell more people about what we're doing as we get closer to the date. Oh, when is it? We never.
Oh shit!
That's important.
It is really soon. it's really soon.
That's like the most important thing.
Fuck. I mean, obviously, we waited till the end.
Right, the information you've been waiting on.
The dates. It's from the 6th to the 9th of May.
Right.
But the jam itself is from the 7th to the 9th of May. So in like 2 weeks.
Right on.
Yeah, 2 weeks, yeah.
NordicGameJam.com. Go sign up and have fun.
And again, you can get a t-shirt if you order.
The t-shirts are pretty good. I still have mine from 20 whatever year it showed up. Highly recommended. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Amanda, thank you for watching, and I will see you all later. Goodbye.
Bye.